Hey everyone, so the Super Investor 13Fs have dropped and I'm going to share with you the findings that I found interesting. I'm going to go through Seth Klarman at Ballpost Group, David Tepper at Appaloosa Management, Mohnish Pabrai at Pabrai Funds, Pat Dorsey at Dorsey Asset Management, and I'll finish with Michael Burry at Scion Asset Management. These are the funds that I think have interesting changes, plus some interesting ideas as well for us to research ourselves. Speaking of research, I use TIKR Terminal. You're going to see a little bit in today's video. There's a link in the description for that if you're interested. It's how I get all my data, and it's really great for researching international stocks in particular. That's what I use it for mostly. And how I actually make my trades is I use Interactive Brokers, and there's a link in the description for that as well. I personally use that to give me access to the OTC markets and international stocks, which makes up the majority of my portfolio, so it's really important that I have Interactive Brokers for that reason. All right, let's jump into Seth Klarman at Ballpost Group. So I think what I found interesting about Seth Klarman's update is that there's a few new buys here. Amazon being one of them that I found of interest. It's not a big holding, obviously it's not even in the top 10 here, but Amazon being a new purchase is quite interesting. Obviously, Seth Klarman thinks there might be some value there. Some other companies, Dollar General, which is going to come up a little bit in the 13Fs from other super investors. Then there's Union Pacific. Interesting that there's a few buys here. And a company called CRH, which I'm not familiar with. Looks like it's out of England, being a PLC. So some good ideas, I think. Garrett Motion was actually added a big chunk too. Looks like 600% up. That's nearly like a new buy. And yeah, I like looking at Seth Klarman's portfolio for ideas. I think they have a pretty good philosophy towards long-term value and growth. So I like looking at Seth Klarman for ideas. Next person I want to look at is David Tepper at Appaloosa Management. Now, I found this super interesting because there's been a lot of activity going on here. And David Tepper, yeah, okay, maybe he trades quite frequently. I think it's just interesting to see the names that he's buying here. So have a look. You've got NVIDIA, they've added 5x to the percentage they have in NVIDIA, which has been on a tear of the last 3 or 4 months, which we're all very aware of. Doubled his position in Meta, nearly quadrupled the position in Microsoft. A 50% increase in Amazon. Pretty much a new purchase of Alibaba. I think that was a tiny little slither at some point, but really gone heavy into the Alibaba purchase, which Alibaba's so interesting at the moment. Like, if you haven't looked at Investing with Tom's YouTube video about the breakdown of the earnings report of Alibaba, they blew it out of the park. And like, the stock price hasn't gone anywhere. Look, I've got a big position in Alibaba personally, and it's nice to see someone significantly more experienced and smarter than me and David Tepper buying big into Alibaba as well. So that's cool. I'm so tempted to buy more in Alibaba, by the way. But anyway, some new buys as well. We got Advanced Micro Devices, Intel, Qualcomm, so Taiwan Semiconductor, so the big chip manufacturers here. Got more Chinese investments here in Baidu. I think down further there's JD.com as well, Pinduoduo. There's even an investment in the China large cap ETF. So David Tepper is quite bullish on China. He probably thinks, being a pretty contrarian value investing kind of guy, he's obviously seen these names getting beat up too much. So the chip sector, the China market, and just tech in general, he looks very bullish on. So we've got like Apple, Micron, Broadcom, Marvel, Lam Research. Like, these are all big like tech companies. Very interesting purchasing here from David Tepper. It looks like he's used a lot of firepower as well. So yeah, this will be a great one to follow on for the next year or two based on the big changes to the portfolio. So I think that's really cool. All right, let's have a look now at Monish Pabrai's Pabrai investment funds. Now I'm using TIKR because I need to look at the international stocks, because he sold out of Micron, which was a big holding that Pabrai had in America, but it's now been sold by the looks of things. And here is the makeup of the portfolio. The new buys are, I think, Alpha Metallurgical Resources, coal mining company, coal processing maybe, Consol Energy. I think they're into do with coal as well. So Monish Pabrai has seen that coal, there's some value there to be had in American coal companies. The other companies are the same, but I just wanted to look at RACIS quickly and just show you what sort of happened here. Just be careful. So if you look at the Turkish lira over the last sort of 5 years for RACIS, like it's gone from like $1 1 lira to 40 lira. So it's like a 40 bagger in what, 4 years. I don't know when Pabrai was buying this. I got a feeling he was getting it around those prices. Even only 2 years ago, you could have got this at some sort of like five lira, and now it's at 40 lira. But just remember, the Turkish lira has been getting punished as a currency. So you kind of need to turn it into US dollar to see what's really been going on. And we've sort of turned it from, sort of like 15 cents kind of thing, somewhere between 12 and 20 cents a share 4 years ago, to now, it's at 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 bagger from there. So it's a big difference from the 40 bagger if you look at the Turkish lira. So look, a huge result here for Mohnish Pabrai with Races. Okay, still in TIKR terminal here. I'm looking at Pat Dorsey at Dorsey Asset Management, and I thought this was interesting to see that there was actually a little bit of a sell-off in the Meta platform stake, and the new buys, well, Ashstead Group PLC, looks like out of the UK. Don't know much about this company, but there's a name there that we can add to the list of things to research. Obviously, Pat Dorsey thinks this is good, and if you have a look at Pat Dorsey's portfolio, Meta, Smartsheets, Wix, Alphabet, Disney, SEM Rush, there's companies here that are quite, I would say, in the tech world. I would say that they're looking for, there's quite a lot of potential growth here as well. And another company down here called HERC, HERC Holdings Inc. Through its subsidiaries operates an equipment rental supplier primarily in the US and internationally. It rents aerial, earth moving, material handling, trucks, trailers, air compressors, compaction and lighting equipment. It goes through, it tells you more about exactly what it does and what sectors it works in and things like that. So that's an interesting business. I actually generally like the rental company businesses. Pretty successful businesses in all areas of the world. So here, let's have a look at gross margins. Gross margins sitting at around about 38%, and look like that's come up from the mid-20s. So it looks like they're hitting their straps pretty well here. This is an interesting business. Maybe there's something here to research. And the last person I wanted to look at was Michael Burry at Cyan Asset Management. Now, I don't get his philosophy, because sometimes you'll see he just sell out on everything, and sometimes you'll see he make huge amounts of purchases. So, for example, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 12, 20, maybe 20 new names here to his portfolio, which, that's a lot of turnover and a lot of trading going on here with Michael Burry, and I feel like every quarter it's wildly different. So I don't know how if he's holding these for long term, or what his play is here, whether it's just he just waits for things to reach their fair value, or he has a catalyst play for each of these businesses. I'm really not exactly sure, but anyway, some names to have a look at that he sees as potential. There's some value there. Expedia is one. IAC owns a big chunk of MGM Resorts as well. There's lots of interesting names here. You can sort of go through this in your own time. I won't go through them all because there's so many of them here. There's also, he also does a lot of puts and calls, and potentially betting on the whole macroeconomic situation in the world. I don't know. This is not really... I follow this because he's super popular, and I just keep an eye on it generally for myself. Just maybe I see an interesting name here. I like Charter Communications. I'd like to have a look into that a bit further. But besides that, I don't get the philosophy of Michael Burry. If anyone has any insight into that, I'd love to hear it. Now, if you're one of the rare few who enjoys my videos, you can reach out to me further or follow me along in Twitter and in Discord, and links are in the description for those. All right, that's enough for today. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.